thank you. Big thank you to the GoFundMe supporters who have kept me alive and under a roof through the winter, even though we've had to move. I'm trying to make it not just a house, but a home, and not just a school space, but, our studio. Having some magic and wonder here. So, thank you. Anyway, I think this will be a short update. Today is Saturday. I'm trying quite hard to have a rest day. I've done a lot of work, but it's sort of scheduling and writing work, which is pretty restful. So last week I had the first 3 of 5 SBRT treatments, that's the photon treatment for the radiation treatment for the masses in the lungs, I guess. I don't know the term, masses or lesions or tumors or whatever. Anyway, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So Wednesday and Friday, Barbara and Darcy came to pick me up and take me to the treatments and, share a lunch and a coffee afterwards. So that was really special. The whole sort of process is quite kind and also quite efficient. I think I went in and they called me from the waiting room like at precisely, the time that was on my appointment. I think that happened both days. I was there plenty early. So my second visit, I came a little less early, and my third visit, I came even a little less early. My understanding was that there's 2 issues in the lung, 2 locations, and one of them requires 2 sessions and one requires 5. I think that's right. And the idea is that the 2 would overlap the last 2 of the 5 visits that I make, meaning that these last 2 would be more lengthy. So I heard something like, I think 45 minutes total time, like you go in and you come out 45 minutes later. So maybe that's something like a half hour, actually on the machine. But the first time I went in, I think it was something like 15 minutes, from the time they called me in and, I sat down on the machine, laid down on the machine. The second time was something like a half hour or thereabouts. So that kind of had me confused, because why is the second one longer, not the 4th and 5th? Although it didn't matter. I didn't have I had plenty of time buffered in my schedule. It didn't matter. The third one, as I was going in, she was saying this will be a little bit longer, and I asked, and I think she said, 25 or 35 minutes, I think is what she said. But that, like I said, it happened really fast. There's very little time to check in and ask a bonus question. So I try, and when I'm on the machine and they're adjusting me, I try and think of one question I can ask and then look for the time that I think it might be sensible. So I feel like each time I get one more little bit of information. One of the questions that I had was how many beams there are. And I don't think I got a clear answer, and maybe there isn't one. Maybe that's an archaic question. But my understanding was, at least for Friday, was that the machine does 1 pass to image me, and then does 2 passes of, providing the radiation. In between those 2 passes, they would come and adjust me, I guess, is what they told me this time. They hadn't come to adjust me previously. So the first 2 I just is in the machine, and I'm guessing it did 1 pass to image and 2 passes to 2 therapeutic passes, but I don't know that, and maybe that's not important or interesting. the second and third visits, they had difficulty adjusting me or the machine, or like getting everything positioned, basically. And the second time I was a bit. The first time I was reasonably comfortable. I'm kind of in this sort of position in the machine. And the second time I was less comfortable. I felt like they jammed me up further and into like a fairly firm head fit sort of shape. So it kind of brought my neck into extension. So I felt like a little compressed this way, but not even as much as I'm showing you, just a little uncomfortable. But I'm a martial artist. I can be uncomfortable in positions and be fine for a long time, both mentally, emotionally, and physically. And then yesterday, the third time, it was even more uncomfortable, and they were having trouble. Like the machine was bumping my elbow, and which they noticed, and so they didn't proceed. And they were, it's like a team of 4 people, I think, and they're kind of like discussing. Well, I can move 1 cm this way, and I'm superior to that mark. And how are you lined up? How much room do you go? I don't have a sense of all the things they're adjusting or what's available to adjust. But at any rate, yesterday, they were having some difficulty getting me into the machine, I guess. I mean, and for my part, I just laid down on a table, like, it's like, but I don't know. I don't really understand. And maybe this is a different pass, and so they're actually trying to do a different thing than the first 2 times. And this was the difficult one, I don't know. But the initial time I went into a different machine, what they call a 4D CT scan, which is a few weeks ago, that's where I guess they're mapping it and developing a plan. Like, we're going to approach from here, and then later we'll approach from here, or whatever. That was something like 45 minutes in there, and I was fine. And yesterday, they ultimately said, you know what, we can't make this work today, so you can go home. And so I kind of got up and got dressed and all that. But I kind of dressed slowly so I could ask a couple questions. And basically she said, we can't complete the circuit, and I think it's because it was bumping my elbow. Okay. We only got a partial completion of the circuit, of the imaging circuit, so we can't really use that to give us the information about how we can adjust, because we didn't get the visual we wanted. So basically she said we have to make another plan. And by the way, no problem, this happens, and like nobody was frustrated, but they had a little challenge. And so I don't know if this means they will reschedule my therapy, the duration of it will change. I'll have to add more therapies, because I don't think yesterday counted as a full one. So I think it was like they got one of the 2 targets, or they didn't do the first, but they tried. I'm not quite sure. But it did seem like they weren't going to just sort of off the cuff it and say, oh, let's try and adjust this, and let's go. And they told me, like, they have to have a plan, and they have to stick to the plan, and they can't vary. And basically they couldn't adjust to the plan they had while I was there. So, and they couldn't use the new imaging. That might mean I have to go in to get re-imaged, which would, I assume, then delay my therapy. I don't know. But it seemed to me that I'll just return. I'm supposed to go Monday and Wednesday again, and maybe it'll take a little bit longer to adjust me, or maybe I'll just be there a little longer, because now they have to do one of the double sessions. I don't really know. But as I sit here now, I'm just planning to go there Monday and Wednesday, and then I'm done. But I'll check in on my, there's an app for the Yale medical system, and so I'll check in and see if there's, a message or a change in the appointment or anything. Meanwhile, I did secure a new doctor who I will see on, I think, Tuesday, March 12th. So Monday I'll have therapy. Tuesday I'll see the new doctor, and Wednesday I'll have the final therapy, or, such is the plan. And that new doctor is a medical oncologist, Dr. Lim, who I am expecting will replace Dr. Stein, who I've talked about on this a few times. And I've heard great things, and so I'm very excited about that. I also learned that my radiation oncologist is leaving the practice, like moving out of state or something. But I'm expecting that she's not leaving before my therapy's done on Wednesday. Again, such is the plan now. So that was just a little bit of information, but I don't think it'll affect me. Anyway, in terms of outcomes, just almost nothing to remark in terms of the effects that I've noticed side effect wise. I'm definitely still tired and the endurance is low, but I've also been pushing really hard to get a lot of things off the ground here and travel and teach and do new classes and keep up with classes and work on the house and trying to do my part to earn money, so I'm not just asking for it on GoFundMe. So anyway, I think that's it. My expectation is next week after I meet Dr. Lim, if I can find a little bit of time, I'll then have a better idea of the prognosis and plan, and then I can update you guys. Then I sent out a recent newsletter, so hopefully you've gotten that. Thanks to all those dropping off donations of food and money and gift cards and groceries and stuff like that. That's been really, really helpful. Probably soon we'll put together a day where we get people to come by and help just in the yard and, to start the season off, get things ready in terms of the landscaping. That would be really good, clean out the gutters and plant a few things. So if you're up for that, reach out and we'll put it together. Love. Thank you.